Hey guys, welcome to my 2024 tier list of games. I haven't been able to review. This year was the year of I don't know, and but going forward, I'm hoping to have reviews of games. I'm currently making one. I'll get to that when I get to the game in this list. And yeah, so I just wanted to make a quick 2024 games list just to get this out there, just to give people a taste of what I played over this past year, and what I think is good and bad and the ugly. I may not have played all these games, but if I've heard enough of it, it'll make it on the list, and I'll obviously give my reasonings behind it and a description. We've got our categories here. We've got peak, amazing, good, alright, garbage, and possible propaganda. I will be explaining those once they come up, but there are a few games on here that I think that my conspiracy is that they have nefarious backings to them. Without further ado, let's get into this. The first game on this list here, it's a bit randomized. There's no specific order to how they're being brought in. First game, just how I ended up messing with this tier list thing. Anyways, sorry. First game, Hell Divers. An easy peak for me. Reasons being is that it came onto the scene out of nowhere and blew everyone away. And the only thing that held them back and kept them back was something of no fault of their own. It was the Sony debacle, and it kind of recoiled them a little bit. People got a little bit salty about that, but the Helldivers team would not have, let that happen. Basically, it was something that was out of their control, and I don't fault them for that at all. They've kind of come back from that low point and have released a new faction that has brought me back in and started playing again. I mean, I said I would play again if a new faction came out, the Illuminate, and they have joined in, so now I'm back up, smacking squids in the face, enjoying my time, and yeah, it's just peak. The game is just always good. I may not play it constantly all the time, but I will always enjoy it every time I play it, and that moment of time when it was out in full force, with millions of people playing at the same time, was peak, and it will forever be peak. And it's not games of all time. Even if it was games of all time, I might put it out there. But of 2024, they're peak, and I wouldn't have been surprised whatsoever if this game won Game of the Year. It would have been fully deserving of it. And an unfortunate setback kind of put muddy in the water, and yeah, and it is where it is. But I fully loved this game. And it's just peak. It's just peak. The next game. Let's go with this one. Chained Together. I'm going to put in alright. It's arguably not even supposed to be on this list, but it got popular enough that I feel like I should talk about it. And the reason why I'm putting it in alright is it just feels like another one of those games that come out and that's only good for streamers. And it's just dog or to alright if you just play it on your own. Because it's chained together, it might be better than others because it's like you have a friend to enjoy it with, but it just feels like another like streamer game where streamers play it and they make fuck tons of money from it, but if you play it you're just like, why the fuck, this is not, who cares, what the hell, what is this? And that's just what it felt like. So it's sitting in all right. Next we have, I'm going to go through a couple of games that I haven't played but I think deserve a spot on the list. I'm sure I loved Monkey Ball in the past. I'm sure I would love Super Monkey Ball. I'm hoping it's good. Maybe it's terrible. I don't care. I'm putting it in there. It's Monkey Ball. We're going to put Luigi's Mansion in there too. Again, same deal. I think it's probably really good. I don't even know. This is kind of a remake. It says HD. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I don't know. Maybe this shouldn't be on the list, but I haven't played it. I've only heard good things, and I should play it. But it's a problem that you might come up with a couple of games that I haven't played. It's just like, it's on another console. I have to buy it on the other console. It's probably really expensive on the other console. I got to play the other console. Blah, 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 blah. Ugh. It's too much work. Even though I own those consoles and I should play more games on them, I just don't. So, it sits in good. Next. Let's keep going with games that I haven't played. So, Outlaws. I'm going to put it in alright. And now, again, this shouldn't have even made the list, but I want to talk about it a little bit because it just feels like with Star Wars games, I feel like it's so easy. They have the resources, they have the willpower to make good games, and they just refuse to. I don't understand why they're just letting out like they just let out it's fine. How do you go from like Jedi Survive, the Jedi Yeah, Jedi Survive. Jedi. What is it? Last. What are they called? Jedi Fallen Order. Is it just what it is? Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survive. Those two games, are really good. I played Fallen Order. I haven't beaten all of it. I really should. It's on the list of games I need to beat. And Fallen Order, like they both just seems like good games, but they're just like why didn't you apply that to Outlaws? Like what why? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if I'll ever fully understand. And also, like the face, I think I could be wrong on this. I don't know if the mocap seemed to go wrong, where the main character, her face doesn't match her face in real life. But Cal Kestis, he's like a 1-to-1 match to him. To I don't understand. I don't know. I'm just gonna put it all right. I'm wishing for better. That's why it's on the list. I just want to put it out there to the world. Do better, Star Wars. You have the ability, and you will make tons of. It's Star Wars. Like, well, come on. Okay. Next game that I haven't played, but I've only heard good things about it. It's Dragon Ball. I'm gonna put it in good. I don't know if it's amazing to peak. I need to play it, but it's the game. It's the Dragon Ball game that was this fucking close from getting me to play one, and that's just a complete me thing. So that's why it's on the list. It's that good. It's probably actually I might dump it in amazing. I'm never gonna put a game that I haven't played on peak, but I might put it in amazing just because I have a strange bias against Dragon Ball. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know if it's some trauma from my past where I had a neighbor that was just so cringe about Dragon Ball, and I've never gotten into it. I've never watched the anime. I've only heard good things about it, and especially this one where it's like difficult and awesome, and just the combat is insane, and it's right there. So I might play it one day, and I'll be like, oh yeah, damn, they cooking with this one. But that won't be this year, as it's already over. Okay, next, what do we got here? Okay, I'll do the Paper Mario game. I'm sure it's good. Again, I just haven't played it enough, but I've only heard good things. Arguably, this might be one that I haven't played enough that I'm not even sure if I'm interested in playing it, but it is another good game. What do I want to do next here? Let's do this next. Again, same thing, although this is probably there's not really an order to these, but if I had to choose between Paper Mario and Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, it's a game that I want to play. Again, it's just another thing on a different console. Stupid reasons for not playing it, but it looks really good. I like the art style a lot, and I want to play it, and I will eventually play it, and I should play it, and yeah, you get the point. Let's just keep going with a couple of those. Just get those out of the way. What do we got? Let's do, again, Shadow. Again, just looks like another awesome Sonic game. I'm going to put it in good. Same reasons before. I just haven't played enough, but I've only heard good things about it. I just want to mention a couple of these games just because they look like games that I should play and that I want to play, but I just haven't. I'm exposing myself on that one. Let's see. Let's do a couple other ones. I think this is basically a big honorable mentions list. I might even remove these afterwards and get back to the games I know. Even though this is going to kind of derail stuff, I might do that because these are all games I haven't played. Helldivers is the only one that's up there. Okay. Yeah, let's do another honorable mentions. Yeah, this is just basic honorable mention. Fuck. Whatever. Pokemon Pocket is a game that I swear to God I'm gonna get this. I bought a tablet. I'm gonna get it. I'm afraid I'm gonna download the Pokemon Pocket trading card game Pocket and just get fucking addicted to it. My brother's addicted to it. I love Pokemon trading card games. This game looks awesome, and it's just gonna sit in amazing. I know it's a fucking phone app game. I don't care. It seems like a good time. Next, we've got. Let's see. Let's round out the games that I haven't played but seem good. Hellblade 2 looks amazing. I've only ever heard good things about it, and yeah, I just unfortunately haven't played it. It's just a game that hasn't really interested me. So maybe I should put it in good because it hasn't grabbed me. But I've only heard good things about it, so I'll put it in amazing. Content warning. Just seems like a good game, good party game. It's something that I've wanted to play. I just haven't had the friends and the resources to put it all together and play it. But it just seems like a good time, good funny time to have with your friends. Let's see what. Oh shit. Okay, we're good. Sorry, I scrolled there for a second. And okay, that's gonna round out. Oh yeah. Well, Oh, this is the last. The rest are, even if I haven't played the game, I have enough to say on it to make it matter. The last thing that I will say here is the Jujutsu Kaisen game. Why? They fucked it. I wanted a good Jujutsu Kaisen game. I didn't play it or buy it. I just heard it was bad, and I was like, oh, god damn it. And then I moved on. So I'm sad and defeated, and I shed a tear for this one, but it's gone and out and dusted, and I move on with my life. This is the round out of my... Actually, let's just move this here. I know I already talked about Helldivers, but this is a round out, just to add a little thing. This is a round out of my honorable mentions list of games that I haven't played, but I want to play. But honorable mentions list here, games that I just haven't played, but I've heard enough to kind of give an idea on them and then what I would play and where I would kind of put them on like a degree of how much I want to play them. So let's take a moment here and we'll move these down and we'll get to the games that I've actually... some of them I might not have played, but I've heard enough of them to have a solid opinion on them, in my opinion. Okay, all right. We're here with the penultimate list of games that I've actually played this year. Some that I haven't, but the games that I have strong opinions on. We're going to go back and we're going to put Helldivers back up there because I already talked about it. I just kind of messed up the list a little bit and I didn't know the direction I wanted to go to. But Helldivers, again, peak, came in, did its damage, left a mark on the gaming community, and is still going strong despite its little dip because of the Sony problem. Next, do I want to go back and forth on from one super high to one super low? We have Concord here. I'm dumping it straight into garbage. Didn't touch it. Looked like bad combat, bad story writing, bad everything. And all I really have to say about this is that although I didn't play it, it felt like, and the reason I didn't play it is because it just seems like trash. I did watch the secret level episode on Amazon Prime, the Prime TV, whatever, and that was a good episode. I would like if the episode was the game, this would be sitting in good. But the episode's not the game, and it felt like they should have probably just done a single player game. I don't know what stopped them from doing that. I'm not really sure why they decided to make a hero shooter that really didn't work out at all. I don't know what goes into this stuff. It seems like people hire people that think they're good at stuff and then they're not, and I don't really know. I haven't read up enough on like how the producers felt about Concord. If they were surprised by their failure, I would have to imagine they were, or they would never have released the game in the state that it was in. So I have to imagine that they're surprised, and it just sucks. You know, it's just the one of those things where you get kind of smacked in the face really hard, and it kind of ruins a bunch of stuff. And that's the problem with, or not. It's not really a problem. It's just that the nature of any kind of industry. But it's especially bad for games because it's like we have like a lot of umbrella stuff. So movies, you might have like a director that makes a bad movie, or like a production office might, but like the production office isn't so directly tied with the movie, if that makes sense. They're all just kind of, you make movies, and the production office will like green light. The production office might die, but it won't stop like a future movie from being developed. Does that make sense? So the example might be, I don't know, if Dune 2 bombs so hard it might cancel Dune 3. You might not get a Dune 3, but the production office that made the Dune games doesn't, die, and because of that you don't get, I don't know, the Batman movie. I don't think those are tied in any way, but let's just imagine they were, because in the gaming community, right, Concord's attached to PlayStation. And when Concord tanks, it might hurt other games that are made by PlayStation, because at the same time that they're a publisher that publishes all these games like Helldivers and a bunch of other games, they're also they publish the games, and they're also like the publishers for multiple other games, and they have to make a profit. So Concord can tank so hard that it affects the production of other games, and that's an issue. I mean, you can see that with EA. Now EA doesn't have a console that they have to sell as well, like PlayStation, but we see this with EA, where sports games from EA or any game are trying to basically recreate what the sports games do, because the sports games make them so much fucking money, but they all suck. And we all, like, I don't even have this. They're not even on this list, but I would put any of the sports games in like the trash tier, even if I'm still playing them. Like NHL is the only one I might put in all right, and maybe the FIFA. No, I played the other one because there's no need for you to buy. No, fuck it, I'd put NHL in trash too, because fuck these sports games. They're too expensive. They shouldn't be like. You can buy the previous year of most, if not all, the sports games, and have the same experience as anyone playing the current up to date version of the sports game. They're always trash. Anyways, a little bit of a tirade there, but yeah, do better next time, I guess. Okay, back to the highs. We've got Balatro. Balatro's obviously going into peak. There's no question about that. The only things that I have to say against Balatro, but I won't let those things get in the way, is that it's just a formulaic thing, and my personal preference towards formulas. I know that Balatro is peak. I know, what it is. It's just that the formula of roguelites are not overtly captivating to me. Again, like I'll easily play these when I'm traveling and stuff like that, but it's not like I'm constantly playing this game all the time. And it didn't have the same like attachment that Helldivers did when it came out. And the reason for this is so there's a weird feeling that I can't fully describe when it comes to roguelites, but basically Balatro comes out and it's just like, oh, Balatro, it's just another goated roguelite in a different tinge to it. Does that make sense? So Hades peak, FTL was peak when it came out, Slay the Spire peak, what's it called? The one where you play as the knight guy who runs sideways, is a side scroller, Knightly Boy roguelite. You all know it if you know it. But I'm saying those are all the same level of peak, but they're just different flavors of the same, roguelite category. And so that gameplay loop, the roguelite gameplay loop, is good, but it's just not over. I had the word and then it's gone. Something Rain. You know what I'm talking about. Just those roguelites again, even that they're multiplayer or they're not multiplayer. That's why I wanted to bring that one up, but I forgot the fucking Risk of Rain. There's Risk of Rain games. The Risk of Rain games as well. Those are multiplayer, but they all share the same formula. And that formula is just not super captivating for me. But I know a good roguelite when I see one, and Balatro is that peak right now. Arguably could have won Game of the Year. I wouldn't have been mad at it whatsoever. And so it sits on the peak. What do we have next? Okay. Let's go with another. We'll go up and downs, and then we'll get to some juicier stuff. Yeah, we'll go Suicide Squad. Garbage. I don't know what to say. Again, it's just another thing where it's why did you do this? Why did you do this to yourself? And it's not even there was a lot of controversy around this, the go woke, go broke stuff. That's not even the problem with the game. You'll see that as well with, it's not even on this list. I'm surprised actually. That isn't on this list. I'll get that in a second. But that's not even the issue. The direction that they wanted to go in with this game of, killing the Justice League is fine. And their execution could have been good. The writing is the writing is the problem, but the direction of how they go with stuff isn't necessarily bad. It's just, the execution of the writing and the gameplay loop and the I don't know what you want to call it, the loot aspect of the things. I don't know what category you want to put that stuff in, but the whole gameplay loop is just trash. It's just garbage. It's trash. It's going to sit there. And the game I want to look for is, okay, we're back. I had to get some games that was missing here because Suicide Squad. The reason something I wanted to talk about in addition to the Suicide Squad, similar problems, was Dragon Age, The Veilguard. I really wanted this game to be good, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it was. And the reason for it, and the reason why I want to talk about it, because I didn't play it, but the reason I want to talk about it is because the reason for from everything that I've seen about it, and the reason for it being bad is not because go woke, go broke. Any of the characters in there can and could be trans or what, it doesn't matter. The problem was the writing and how they wrote those characters into being who they are. And the biggest kind of facepalm about that is that apparently the one non-binary character in the game, you can go throughout and do a whole story about how they're non-binary and blah blah blah. Doesn't really matter. But at the end of it, their one best friend who's so bent on not misgendering them, you can talk to them in a dialogue way later in the game and they misgender them immediately. It's what? We went through this whole quest and it had nothing to do. And so they just forgot to change it. Now, I'm sure it's just that they forgot to change the voice line. But it's not it's just a good summary of like, okay, you just like really just did not give a fuck about writing this at all. And that was just the biggest issue, is just the writing in this game just does not seem to be the case, like good at all. And on top of that, from what I've seen of the combat, will be something that I cannot get through. It was the same problem that Dragon Age Inquisition had for me, and this doesn't seem to have massively increased on the combat loop there, where you kind of just stand there, especially if you're a mage, which I was. You just stand there and you just smack something in the head about 20 times until it dies, and then you move on. And that's just not going to cut it for me. So it's just going to sit in garbage, and unfortunately, it will stay there. The next game that I wanted to talk about, that I added quickly, and I have it fresh on my mind, is that Satisfactory came out, technically, as a 1.0, and I'm going to put it in good to amazing, to peak, to good to amazing. I have, no, I'm going to put it in peak. Fuck it. Well, no. I think Factorio is better. So, these types of games are not for everybody. And, so the biggest, like, it's hard to even kind of gauge this, because I'm sure that 80% of people who watch this will probably never enjoy a game like Satisfactory, because it's an Autismo game. I don't know what to say. It's really good, it's amazing, and it does what it does extremely well, and I love it for it. But I'm not gonna blame you if you don't like this game. It's very technical. It's pretty dry if from an outside perspective. I don't think it is, obviously, but from an outsider, it probably seems pretty dry. And you basically just sit there and build factories all day. And I love it, and I think it's amazing. And I should play more of it, but I just don't, because it's a big kind of time sink. And really the biggest drive for this is that it's really easy to play multiplayer, but multiplayer can get a little bit, cumbersome, to say the least. And yeah, so I should play more of this, but I haven't. But I did play a lot of it before 1.0, and I loved it, so I will probably play it again. Next, okay, we're going to get to my first bit of controversy, because this one I think came out first. Stellar Blade. I think Stellar Blade, and I wish the game that I was hoping to find as well, is the game that this was like in conjunction with. I don't know why this happened, but I can't think of it to save my life. I don't know, maybe it was Dragon Age, but Stellar Blade, I think, is fucking possible propaganda. Why? I think it was having beef with fucking Elden Ring too, Shadow of the Erdtree, because they're like, oh, that's DLC, that's not a real game. Anyways, this game, I swear to God, and there's one more game on the list that'll be similar to this, and I'll get to it, but it was just used as the go woke, go broke kind of game, because there's a hot woman as the main protagonist, and like, this is how you make women in games. Look at her ass shaking, and the jiggle physics are crazy. But every single time anyone would make a post of this, I would only see one fight in the whole game. It's like they just did the tutorial boss fight and then turned it off. So one fight in the whole game I've ever seen. I've never seen anything more than one individual fight. I've only ever seen the Stellar Blade lady look one way, so it doesn't look, to me, it doesn't seem like there's any customization whatsoever. I think maybe I saw a different clip of like a pre-order bonus you can get to change how she looks, and that's it. So I've only ever seen her look one way in one boss fight, and that's why I think it's possible propaganda, because I think people just played it, got angry did the reactionary bullshit on Twitter, got some clicks, and then moved the fuck on, and they didn't give a single fuck about this game, and that's why it's in possible propaganda. Next, we have Pal's World. I'm going to put it in, it's all right. It's a game that even I can't let my not liking the gameplay loop bias overcome. That's probably just an all right game. You might think it's better. I don't really give a fuck. Yeah, I played a little bit of it. I kind of realized, it's a lot like Ark. If you know anything about Ark, it's just a survival kind of, not a collectathon game, but a survival, crafting game. I don't know how else to describe it better. You go out, you collect resources. In Pal's World case, you collect resources and you collect, not Pokemon. And yeah, you just kind of do that on end. In Ark, it's, you capture and enslave dinosaurs. In Pal's World, it's monsters. And you capture them, and they'll do tasks for you, and it's probably not slavery. Yeah, and you just kind of do that on end, and it's a bit of a time sink of a game, and I just don't have that time. And I didn't really want to put that time aside to play it. I'm sure I could, because I play other games that I play a metric fuck ton of, and this was just not one of it. It didn't scratch it that much, so it sits in aight. Next on the list, let's go with Black Ops 6. Oh, God, where do I want to put this? Okay, I'm gonna keep it in all right, but for a little moment, it's going to go in good because I thought the campaign was good. It's not exactly saying much, I guess, in terms of a Call of Duty campaign. Like, are there other campaigns that exist that are much better? Yeah, but it was I enjoyed the campaign a lot. I really had my fun in that, and yeah, just basically go play the campaign. If you have it on Game Pass, it's free, and that's the problem. And going straight from there, that's why I'm putting it in all right, because I think if it wasn't on Game Pass, I wouldn't play this game. And even with it on Game Pass, I currently have it uninstalled because it's just another COD game I'm feeling. And if arguably it actually should feel much better, but it doesn't. And the reason for that is the fucking maps are so dog tier that I can't get behind it. And unfortunately, I can't even get behind zombies. I'm pretty sure I would enjoy zombies more, but the problem is that I've never really enjoyed zombies all that often, so I was just like, I'll play a bit of zombies, and then I was like, I don't really like this, and then I moved on. But the multiplayer, people will complain about 3-laned maps, and those people are wrong and stupid. And because 3-lane maps are good maps, and they can be good maps, you just have to design them well, and you have to design them so that the 3 lanes aren't directly beside each other, and your spawn points are directly on top of each other. So they're not even true 3-lane maps. If you want to look at good 3-lane maps, go look at Counter-Strike. All of Counter-Strike's maps are 3-lane maps, except for technically a few, right? But I don't think Vertigo is technically a 3-lane map, but every single map in the world will have a mid, an A site, a B site. They have 3 lanes. Now, again, that's restricted by the gameplay, but I'm pretty sure that stuff also works in a team deathmatch environment. It's just the maps have to be a little bit fucking longer so that when you spawn, you're not immediately being stared at by some guy and have to fight immediately to fucking kill somebody or die immediately and not move anywhere. The 3 lanes don't matter if you can, from any point on the map in the lanes, you can see the other lane or through it all the way to the other side. It just doesn't work that way. In my opinion, I don't really know map design, but in my opinion, from playing maps throughout my whole life, the point of a 3-lane map is so that you can have an objective sit somewhere on the map. In Counter-Strike's case, it's bomb sites. And in a Call of Duty sense, if it's TDM, then it's just kind of whatever naturally occurs on the map. There might be you might have on the map like kind of a point of interest. I don't know, maybe in the middle of the map, there's some kind of rocket you can launch off and it'll kill some people or whatever. But it's not an objective. And then you can also place objectives by having a King of the Hill area, bomb sites for whatever gameplay, like Search and Destroy will have bomb sites, but there's the other one that I don't remember. You can have you just have the different, capture the flag, you'll have flags. And the purpose of that is that maybe on capture the flag, the middle of the middle lane is the fastest point between the 2 flags, so most people are going to run there because it's the fastest point. But you have the left and right paths to flank around and get around them. So you had to play a little bit of a battle to try to outflank your opponent, get in behind them, do a bunch of damage to them, and they're trying to do the same thing to you. And that's where the kind of ebbs and flow of gameplay happen, is those flankings. That's what happens in Delta Force or the old Battlefield games, where those aren't specifically 3 lanes, right? But because it's a massive map, you can't necessarily have 3 lanes. But the point of it is that you're trying to flank your opponent at all times. I mean, that's just what war is the ability to have your front line here, and obviously there's battling going on there, but you're trying to flank and flank and flank and flank and flank. And then the border of the map will stop you, obviously, but that's the goal. Is that, yes, here's the most direct route, so of course you're going to send some shit down the most direct route, but if you can flank, then you can get behind them and you can do some big damage. And that's what you're trying to aiming for. But in Call of Duty, you just can't do that because there's no flanking, because you're constantly being flanked at all times because the spawns are terrible and the maps are small and and that's why it's uninstalled. Okay. Next, let's get to some good shit. Dragon's Dogma. Hot. This might be a hot topic and a hot take, but I think it's peak. And I don't give a fuck what you say, but I think Dragon's Dogma is peak. I loved smashing shit up in that game. Just killing creatures and collecting stuff and getting all the armor and playing dress up with all the armor and changing your class so seamlessly and easy between everything. And the Wayfarer class itself just being a nice and unique thing. Maybe not the best thing, but just nice and unique in that sense that you can kind of customize. And your kit is much smaller, but you have the ability to kind of coordinate and what's the word I'm looking for? Synergize between classes to get some big damage out there. But in general, it's just really fun. I mean, at a certain point, you kind of start out leveling everything, and you can start one-shotting things with spells. I think there's a couple. Yeah, there's dragons that I can just easily one-shot now with a couple builds that I can think of off the top of my head. So, and some that are designed that way. Some are a little bit more of a not a gimmick and not an exploit, but just a cool kind of thing you can do. So the thing that comes to my mind on the top of my head is that you would get the sorcery class has an ability to give you. So I think you have to use the Wayfarer to get this done. But you would go Wayfarer, you put the sorcery class on, you put the ball of destruction. There's like the spell that you put on, and as you hit that spell more often, you'll do more damage. Now, if you want to stay in the sorcery class, you equip that, and you equip the lightning bolt spell, and you basically just put the little bomb on them, and then you equip your lightning spell and you smash down as many lightning bolts as possible, and you'll do a ton of damage to them. If you want to one shot basically every creature ever, you get the ball, you get a Wayfarer class, you put on the ball, you attach the ball to a creature, and then you get out an arrow. I don't remember which specific one. I don't know if it's just your archery build or if it's the like magic archer build. I think it's the magic archer build, but you basically get one of those out, and then I forget the spell. I think it's a mage archer build, and there's some rapid fire spell that you can equip, and you basically just do that, and you fire a bunch of spells into the little bomb you made, and it'll go off and just blow anything up. It's just insane. I think the sorcery one. Oh, well, there's definitely a sorcery one shot, and even with just a couple different spells, but. Regardless, so there's like cool spells like that, but there's also just amazing gargantuan spells, like summoning a whole tornado to just come in and rip up the battlefield. It's just so satisfying. The magic in any of the Dragon's Dogma games has always been super satisfying for me. You're basically just summoning massive storms by a late game, and even early game, it's just super satisfying. Even the smaller spells are they just feel like powerful, amazing spells that you're casting forward. And even the casting system of the game makes you feel that way, where there's like a charge up, and I think it's peak. Yes, the downfall of it will probably be the RPG elements of the RPG action adventure game that it is, and I can accept that. I understand why you might not like the story and how it's told and the writing and stuff yet, but I don't care. I don't care. I love the game. I will probably end up picking it up again, and I just love smacking things in the face and all the different classes and all the different things you can do within each class, and getting all the weapons and all the armor that you can, and making your character look as sick as possible. And it's just I think I beat it like twice because I finished it once, didn't like the ending, played it through the whole thing again, and just peak. I loved it. I don't care what anyone else has to say. It's peak. Let's go with next on the list here. Okay, because I got a bunch of bangers, so we're gonna go with. Let's see. Okay, this is probably the banger, but I haven't actually played it, and that's my fault. But it's Astrobot, and it goes into peak, obviously. Now, again, like I just said, I haven't actually played this game, and I should play this game, and I probably will play this game. But like I said in my honorable mentions list, it's just, unfortunately, and the reason I made it here is just because it's such a goated game, that I need to play it. It's just a different console, costs a lot of money. I didn't want to buy it. I don't know. But I need to get over those. I need to get this game. I need to play it. I need to do it. But I can't do that in 2024. I can only do that in 2025 because that's the current year. 2024 is over. And so it's sitting in peak. It deserves to be in peak, but I just haven't played it. And I apologize to everyone across the whole globe for not playing this game. Okay. Next up, another peak. And it's technically not a game, and I agree, it's DLC. But it's still on this list because I played it. I enjoyed the ever-living shit out of it. And it's Shadow of the Erdtree. You know, I wouldn't have been mad. I wouldn't have been mad if it won Game of the Year. I agree that it probably doesn't deserve to be even considered because it's DLC. But I wouldn't have been mad, okay? I would have clapped, okay? A tear would have come out of my eye of joy. But it's sitting here in peak because I just loved it. And the only downside I can think to this in the entirety of all of it was peak. All of it was amazing. There's one downside. It's just one boss fight. The stupid bull riding boss fight. By the way, first, just before I continue, if anyone else says anything else, any boss fight, it's a skill issue. But this one boss fight is not a skill issue. This is just a weird quirk in this one. But every other boss fight, skill issue. If you're bad, if you can't fight it, if you think it's bullshit, you're wrong. It's skill issue, okay? I beat all the bosses, so can you. Fuck you. But the commander guy that rides on the boar, that boss fight, I ended up beating it. It's not necessarily difficult, but there's one piece of thing in there that's bullshit, and it ruins a lot of the classes that you might be like trying to fight it with. Mage is like awful to fight against it, but you can do it. But the one thing, I think if you heavy roll, I think if your class heavy rolls at all, now usually you don't want to heavy roll, but if you have a melee class, I think it's okay. Anyways, the point is that when it's charging at you, and it does this from the very start of the fight, so that initial charge that it happens at it was just running straight at you. The only way that I found to dodge it, besides light rolling, but even then, the light rolling is like strange. But the only way to dodge it on a normal roll is you have to dodge forward and to the side. You have to do this stupid jump where if he's charging straight at you, you basically have to jump off of his side and you go through him using the iframes to dodge him. But it just looks super unintuitive and unsatisfying on how to dodge something that you're supposed to roll into him to the side. And that's like the only downside to it, is that that's the only way that I found to dodge his charge without light rolling. Light rolling is just easy, you just kind of dodge out of the way. But if you're not light rolling, you have to dodge into him, because the way his hitbox works is dumb as hell. I don't know how to explain it, but for some reason that's the only invincibility area is to either on either side, but you roll through him to the side a little bit. It's stupid. But that's the only downside I have on it. Okay. The last few games here, I will do, how do I want to order this? Okay, I'll do this first. Multiverse. It's just it's just a very good party game. I enjoyed it. It's fun to play, but it's just, I don't have the friend group willingness, I guess, to play this constantly all the time. But if you're ever in need of a party game and you don't have a Switch and you just have a PC and you want to play a fighting game, Multiverse is that game. It's good. It's awesome. It's got a good character selection. It's gotten a little bit weird, I think, recently. I think like LeBron James is in the fucking game because they have the rights to Space Jam. But I don't think it's bad because of that, right? So it's in good. It's just a good party game. Probably if you have a group of friends that you're constantly looking for party games, this might be the one. Next up, we have, okay, let's go with the next controversial one and the last controversial one. Stop. I've forgotten a game. And that game is Space Marine 2. It's in peak. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this game. It's not even bad, okay? It's mostly a single player game anyways. The multiplayer is also very good. You can give it a good or an amazing if you want to, based on like the multiplayer longevity. I don't think there's anything wrong with multiplayer. It's just like I've stopped playing it, but right, like I'm not gonna hate on Indiana Jones because I'm not gonna be playing it anymore after I've beaten it, right? Or I'm not gonna hate on Shadow of the Erdtree because I stopped playing it after I beat all the bosses. Or like, right, like I beat this campaign on Space Marines, and the Space Marine campaign was totally fucking tubular epic, bro. It was good. Awesome combat, awesome story, awesome everything. It's peak. It's Space Marines 2. There's not much else to say. I mean, it's hard to encapsulate it all without it's also been a kind of a long time, but like I said, amazing story. And even the multiplayer, even if you can argue that there's like some downsides to multiplayer, I still really like the PvP and I still really like the PvE. There's some kind of you might be able to give it some bad marks on like balancing issues. It's not even a PvP. The balancing is probably fine, or like whatever, they can work that out. PvE, it's a little bit strange, like that they have the same debuffs onto the assault class, for example. Actually, they have it worse. The assault class can't even like really like jump up in the air properly and do a bunch of stuff. So maybe they fixed that, maybe they didn't. I just remember that being annoying, where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go in as the assault class, let's fucking go. And then you go to like try to bash somebody and you fly like 2 feet in the air, and then you like slam forward like only like 3 extra feet, and you're like, okay. And it didn't feel powerful. And then you only have like 2 chargers, and you only have 2 shields. Ugh. It was a little annoying to be the assault class in PvE. That was a little bit annoying to do the co-op modes as the assault class, but multiplayer is good. I ended up learning how to play assault on multiplayer, and I enjoyed that for a little bit too. So all around peak game, loved it. Maybe I'll play more of it, I'm not sure. But Space Marines 2, yeah, it's been added in officially. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video. I'm not sure where I'm splicing this in, but enjoy the rest of the video. Take care. Black Myth Wukong. Where do I put it? Where am I going to put it? Nobody knows. I think Black Myth Wukong is another piece of propaganda. Why? Because every time I've seen a clip of this fucking game, it's a clip of like, oh, this is the combat in this game. Like, oh, look, Astrobot. Look, here's Astrobot's gameplay versus Wukong's gameplay. And Wukong's gameplay is... every time I look to the comments, it's someone saying this isn't the actual gameplay. Here's the real gameplay, and then I'll click on their link or whatever, and I'll go, and it's like, oh, this looks nothing like this is the same fight. It's in the same area, obviously, but it looks nothing like the thing that he just showed me. What the hell? What's going on here? So it's like there's a weird cutscene, I guess, that's also a fight. I don't know if you have any control of it. I don't know if there's any QuickTime events, but it looks wildly different than the fight is. Maybe that's also propaganda. Maybe it's counter propaganda. I don't know. But it's only ever that, and it's only ever of this like one fight where you're just in the open expanse of a cloud with, I guess, some stuff in the background. But every time I've seen a Black Myth Wukong fight, it's just in an open nothingness with nothing around you at all times ever. And I'm just like, and I've only ever seen like 2 fights total. Like, I can go through and find Sekiro gameplay, Elden Ring gameplay, and I will easily find every single boss fight. Easy, anywhere. You can just look up gameplay and you'll find, of all the videos that are out there, all of them are going to be of different bosses, always. But in Black Myth Wukong, I swear to God, anytime I've ever seen it pop up anywhere, it's been the same boss fights, and the same gameplay, and nothing looks different ever, and everything's always the same, and it's just, no, it's propaganda. I don't know what to tell you. And it coincidence that it's a Chinese game? I don't know. I don't know. It's probably coincidence, but I still think it's possible propaganda. Next, we have Marvel Rivals. It's tough for me to categorize. It's peak. It's peak. But my only hesitation there is, again, it's just a personal problem of like the gameplay loop, and I'm just not sure if I'm like all that down with hero shooters. But every time I play it, it's awesome. I'm having a great time with my friends. But I'm just not sure that I'm like hooked, line and sinker in there. But I will say to Marvel Rivals, it came into the scene and devastated everything around. It's everywhere now. It looked at Overwatch's bleeding dead, horribly deflated corpse and just fucking pumped it with a couple extra bullets. And it's all well deserving. Marvel Rivals can really... I'm hoping that they don't somehow screw it up. There's every chance that they will. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. They could Murphy's Law it, even though Murphy's Law is not. It's just whatever can happen will happen. And one of the things that can happen is that it could be fucked. They could fuck it, but I don't think they will. They have some good stuff going for them. And the reason I say that is just because, right, obviously, we saw Overwatch was the closest competitor to this, and Overwatch did fuck their shit up. But if you look at, okay, well, what fucked their shit up? Okay, so it's going from 66 to 5v5 is, okay, maybe that's why. Marvel Rivals probably won't do that. They also added role queue, which seemed to really fuck things up because it just narrowed everything into you have to play this way. Now, role queue in other games is obviously not that bad, right? In League of Legends, they have role queue, right? You literally go into support, blah, blah, blah. But there's so many champions that every time you play a specific role, you're playing, many, many different champions. And it's League. It's different. It has specific lanes that you're supposed to be in. So there's specific roles that go into those lanes. So it's different. So don't do that, Rivals, either, and I think they won't. And the other thing, this is the smallest thing that I noticed, which I think will help them out a lot, is the biggest issue with a lot of these games, and it's one of the main reasons why I stopped playing COD, is that the stage at which everyone figures out the game, and it's something I'm going through, and Bazaar's not on here, and I probably should have got a picture of the Bazaar, but it's technically not out. It's just in its pre beta phase, basics beta phase, whatever. Any of these games, people will start to figure out the meta, and no one's really figured out the meta yet with Marvel Rivals, I don't think. And the thing that they've done, which can help them and will help them with having people not figure out the meta, is that they have, if you've ever noticed, I'm not going to put a clip in here, but on the champion selection, in the bottom left corner of any champion that you look at, there's a little yellow whatever Marvel Rivals symbol there, and that's just a straight buff for the season. So whichever ranked season you're in, even though the rank doesn't matter, but there's the season, however they're long, or however you're going to describe the season that you're in of the thing, any random assortment, I don't know if it's random, they probably choose, but a random assortment of champions will have a buff to them. So right now, people that I can think of off the top of my head, Hela has a straight up 10% buff. I think Cloak and Dagger has a 10% or 15% healing buff. So these heroes just have a straight up buff. And so what that allows them to do is that if some champion's stronger in one season, then in the next season it'll automatically be weaker. And if it's still strong, then you maybe look to nerf it. But the game nerfs itself every season, because this champion's literally stronger here, and if it's OP, then you can nerf it on top of that. But it's going to be buffed in this area, and it's going to be strong over here, but it won't be strong in the next season. And you have that constant cycle of the meta kind of constantly changing. And of course, eventually people will kind of solve that too, but it'll take much, much, much longer, and that'll just give them longevity, right? We all know if you play League, or if you play any other game with seasons, is that the best time of the year, Hearthstone, anything that is, especially in Hearthstone or card games, is when a new set comes out, or in League when a new season comes out, and all the changes are coming in. That's like the best time, quote unquote. The best time is around those times, and Marvel Rivals can kind of keep that ball rolling by constantly changing up the meta and giving buffs to people and stuff like that. And then of course they'll have the additional, boosts of adding new heroes and new skins and new gameplay and all that stuff. So Marvel Rivals has a great road ahead of it, and I'm excited for it, and I'm going to play it with my friends. And even if the game is not necessarily for me, it's fully deserving of its peak title. Okay, now last and not least, because it's the game that I will have a review for, it's Indiana Jones. I won't say much. I don't know exactly where to put it. And it's difficult because I don't know how much I want to put my own bias on my ratings for it are, but oh man, and I'm still thinking about this. Where would I put this? And the way I have to think about it is that I'm imagining, and I won't say too much, of course, because you have to go watch my review, but if I'm imagining the movies, and I'm like, okay, where does this line up with the rest of the movies? I'm like, fuck, this one's pretty fucking good. It's pretty peak. I think Indiana Jones is a sneak peek game in 2024. It slid right in there. I think it will be up for like 2025's game of the year. I don't know if it'll win anything like that, but for me, it's just been such a good experience. But you can hear all about that in my review of Indiana Jones, which should hopefully be releasing sooner rather than later. But this concludes my list of games for 2024. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you played a lot of these things. Depending on how I've edited this, my honorable mentions list tying into this list. So the honorable mentions list, like I said, I didn't play those games, but I've said what I've said about them, and I've heard good things about them. This list is more personal. I've actually played many of these games, even if I haven't played these ones or this one, but I've either played or heard enough to give a piece on it, because me not playing them is kind of a reason for it being good or bad. Like, I would have 100%, if Dragon Age was any better than it was, I would have played it. It would have only made it probably to all right, but I would have played it, right? So the fact that I didn't play it is the reason why it's in garbage. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked this, please like it. If you subscribed it, please subscribe. If you have any thoughts about the list and want to make your own, feel free to in the comments below. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.